Hi guys, this is Sai Kumar Kortiwada. In this video, we will learn about sibling component communications. In our communication of a components, we are discussing all the different types of communication which we have discussed about the control container, input output decorators, and how to pass the data by using view child, view children, everything we have covered. Now, the thing is, it is not about parent to child. It's about the sibling communication. It comes under the parent to child because both the siblings should be at the parent level. So how we will communicate and what is the scenario we are going to use here. Okay, let me explain you what is the requirement for this particular explanation. Let me go to the next slide. Here is the requirement. So the requirement is create a profile name component which contains name field and a update button. So I need to have a profile component where it should have a name field and an update button. Create a header component which contains the name of the profile entered. So whatever the name I am entering in the profile component, that name should be visible on the header component. And on updating the name in the profile page, the same name should reflect in the header component. So what I want to do, I have an app component which is like a parent component. I have a profile component and an header component. Profile component indicates one particular component which contains the name and button. Header component should display it. So these two are the siblings for each other and they are injected in my parent component, that is app component. So what are the approach we are going to use here? So if you see here, these are the different types of implementations and approaches. Okay. So as we are doing this video after version 15 of Angular, I want to explain you in both ways. One is input output decorator in a modular way and input output decorator in a standalone components way. So I want to use both of this in our application. And also we can achieve this by using services. But as of now in our series, we didn't completed the playlist or understanding of services. I don't want to go now itself, but once we complete the services, we'll come back here and we'll do one more video by how to communicate between the components by using services, or else we will just cover that particular thing in the services playlist itself. Let me quickly jump into the Visual Studio Code. So here already I have a component called as app component. If you go to the source, we have a app component, and inside this app component, it is in the modular format. You can see that bootstrap module, it is pointing to app module, and inside this app module, we have app component, and also we are having a reactive forms module. So now what I want to do is I want to create two components which are modular components. Ng generate, and let me create a component with the name of profile, and I don't want to inject spec file. So I'll use skip hyphen tests, and it should be something like tests. Hit enter. So I think it is hyphen tests and hit enter. Now it created a modular component because the profile component has been injected in our module. And now let me go into ng generate component and let me give a header component which again does not need any spec file as of now, or tests, and enter, because I don't want to write any test cases for header and the profile component, but the communication I want to write the test cases that can be handled in the parent component. So that's why I'm not creating any spec files. So let me go and see here, header component has been injected in the modular, that is app module. So let me close this. Now what we want to do is I just want to go into my app.component.html and inject my header component, app header. This is my selector. If you have any doubt in the selector, just go to the header component.ts and copy this and create it as an element. Now let me create one profile component. So let me go to the profile.ts and copy this selector and paste here. So now you will be getting two components and the server is already running. Let me go into the browser, and here you can see Angular 15 launched. That means it is in the parent component. Let me mark it as app component. So inside the app component, we have two childrens, that is header and a profile. Header is a sibling for profile. Profile is a sibling for header. Let me go here and you can see header works and profile works. So now what I want to do is I want to create a profile name inside my header. So let me go into the header component, header.html, and let me create one label, that is heading, or let me use a profile name which is by default name. And let me save this. Let me showcase this in my HTML. So let me go here and let me write a paragraph. Inside this paragraph, my profile name is of this profile name whatever we are getting. So let me go here. You can see my profile name is default name, and for this understanding let me use something like a paragraph, and here I want to use this as header component, and this is my header component. You can see my header component, and to give a differentiation let me use h1 and also use here h1 and save this. Now you can see header component. So this is absolutely fine. Now what I want to do is I want to create a form in my profile.html. Let me go to the profile.html and just go with a h1 tag where it will be showing you profile component. And now let me create one div, and inside this div let me create a input field. So this is my input field, placeholder is profile name, and save this. Let me give a type as text and save this. Now you have created this profile name. So now we have this profile name in the input field. So let me go and create a break statement and a break statement and create one button. So let me create one button which is of type button, and then I want to update the profile name. So this is my button. Let me go to the UI and you can see the profile name and update profile name. So till here we have header component and a profile component. Now our target is whenever there is a profile name exist and click on the profile update, then it has to update my header component. But actually speaking, this header component and profile component does not have any direct relation, but there is a relation between these two by using its parent component called as app component. So header is a sibling for profile via app, and profile component is a sibling for your header component via app component, because app is a parent. So let me go here and let me create a communication between this by using all this content. So I cannot pass the data directly from profile to header, but I can pass the data from profile to app, and then app will be taking care of sending the data to header. So that is the logic here. So let me go here, and first thing what I want to do is just I'll go to the profile.ts and let me create a profile name. So let me use something like a string type, and it is not having any default value, so let me use not. And what I want to do is I want to use an ngModel. I don't want to create a complex reactive form here. Why? Because we have only one field. So let me go here and create a ngModel, and now this ngModel will have this profile name and save this. Now you will be getting a problem. Why? Because ngModel requires a forms module. So let me go into the app module and insert your forms module and save this. Now it has been successfully passed. And also when you update it, that means on a click event, I want to call something called as update profile name, and this will be the responsible person for sending the data from your profile to its parent. That is nothing but app component. So let me go to the profile.ts and create one update profile name, and this fellow is responsible to send the data to the parent. For sending the data to the parent, already we know that we are sending the data from child to parent. That's why we'll use a decorator called as output decorator, and this output decorator will have an emitter, something like profile name emitter, which is of type event emitter. And let me get this from core, and let me use a string type because I'm sending a string type, and this will be equivalent to your new event emitter of empty string. By default it is empty. And now whenever I click on a button, I want to emit this. That means emitter, let me remove this empty because I don't have any default value, dot emit. So let me use this dot profile name emitter dot emit of, I want to send my profile name whatever it is updated. So let me save this, and now let me go to the profile.html and save this. Whenever I click this, now emitter is ready to emit, and now we need to write the receiver part. So let me make it very simple. This is my child, this is my child.ts, and let me receive this in my app.component.html. How can I receive it? I can receive it by using a custom emitter. What is my emitter? That is profile name emitter. Let me copy this and paste here, and this one will call one method in my parent. So let me go to the app.component.ts and create one receiver, that is nothing but profile name receiver, and it is SEIVR. Yeah. So let me copy this receiver and pass here. This receiver will receive some value via event, that is dollar event, and let me pass this event, that is nothing but a name which is of type string. So now this will be a name which is triggered from your profile component. So let me hold on in some of the variable, that is nothing but a profile name whose value is default name by default, and whenever I click on an update, then this dot profile name should have this name. And let me console here whether we are getting the proper data or not. Let me check and save this and save this. So let me go to the browser. Here I am trying to pass the data from my profile component to app component. Let's check whether it is happening or not. Let me try here Sai Kumar and click on update profile name. If you see Sai Kumar, it is inside your app.component.ts. That means you are able to send the data from your profile component to app component. Now what this app component should do, it should send the data to your header component. How to send it? Already we know that we can send it by using property binding. Let me use a property binding. With this app component, I need to send into this particular header. So if I want to send something to my header component, then it should be having the capability of receiving it, and we are sending the data from parent to child. So we can use a mechanism called as input decorator. Let me save this, and for this input decorator I want to send my name. And what is the name here? We already have declared inside this profile name. Let me copy and save this. Now whenever the profile name receiver sends the data, then my profile name will update in my app component. Whenever this is updated, then automatically my header.ts will get updated, and whenever header.ts is getting updated, then my HTML will update. Let me go here and clear it off. Now it is having a default name, and whenever I change something here Sai Kumar and click this, then it is getting updated in my header component. So now I am passing the data from profile component to the header component via app component. So this is one of the approach where you can try to communicate between the sibling components. But it is bit crazy, and it is also bit complex, because sending the data to the parent and disturbing the content in the parent and sending the component details to child, it is hard to understand. To avoid this, we have the concept of services. Whenever we come to the services and when we learn about observables, behavioral subject, we'll get to know in a different way and an easy way of using this particular approach. Let me go back to the code. Now we have achieved this. This is a modular process of achieving the sibling communication. Now what I want to do is, as we are using Angular 15, I want to execute the same logic but with a standalone components. So now let's go and make these components as standalone. Let me go into the main.ts, and first target is to make our app module to be removed. So how can I remove that? By using bootstrap application with app component. So let me use an app component, and this app component, whenever I am registering as a bootstrap application, it should be a standalone. So let me create the standalone for this, standalone as true, and also it should use all the common modules and common features. So that's why I'm importing common module. Now let me save this, and let me save my main.ts, that is nothing but command P main.ts, and save this. Now I have saved this main.ts, but whenever we change main.ts will run only once whenever we are running the application. So let me use ngserve and hit enter. It will run the application with the app component. But still we are facing some issues. Why? Because we have some problem with our app module. So let me go to the app module and remove all the dependencies for us. So let me remove app component and also this app component, and let me save this. And now I want to change all the components into standalone. So let me go to the main.ts in the starting, and I don't want to use now. Let me go into the app.component.ts, which is again a standalone component. And just to make header component as a standalone component, do the same thing, standalone as true. If you want to use a CLI, you can use CLI just by using hyphen standalone option, which I have explained in the standalone component. If you want to watch that, I'll provide the link in the description. Just go and watch the standalone components for better understanding. And then I'll go with the imports, and this imports will have a common module because we are using all that input decorator and output decorator. Let me save this, and also let me go into my profile component, which is this one. And also I just want to make this as a standalone. So standalone as true, and let me use imports with a common module and save this. Now all the components are standalone components, but still we are seeing some problem. Component header component is a standalone and can't be declared in the ngModel. So let me go into the ngModel, that is nothing but an app module, and remove all this because they are the standalone components. Let me remove this and save this. And now let me add all the dependencies which are required for us. So let me go into the profile.ts, which is using a forms module. So let me use forms module because already we have removed our app.module.ts connectivity. And also let me go into the app.component.ts. Here this component is dependent on two other standalone components, that means app header and app profile. So let me inject them here. This standalone components will act like a module itself, so no need to inject that in any module, just use them in your imports. So let me go into the imports and add header component and also profile component. Now these two components are ready to use and the compilation is successful. Let me go to the browser and check the features here. Let me go Sai Kumar and hit update. It is updating, and let me remove this and use text share skk, and let me hit this. You can see that text share skk, and if I remove this and update it again, it is showing an empty. So that is how you can communicate between the sibling communications by using a modular pattern and standalone pattern. So why we are focusing on the standalone? Because after 15 of Angular, that is version 15, most of the Angular folks are trying to adapt for standalone components, and this is the way how we can use for the standalone components. From now, every video whatever I am uploading on Angular 15, I'll try to showcase the things with the normal modular format as well as a standalone pattern. Hope this will give you a better understanding about sibling communication between the components. Hope you like my explanation. And also, I want to let you know about TechZet. TechZet is a platform on Medium where you can learn all the backend stuff. Mainly, it is focused on the Adobe Experience Management, Magento, as well as OSGI, along with the basics of Java. And you can see the Sling framework completely. So just have a click on the link below in the description and have a look on this Medium blog. If you like, please like, share, follow Medium blog. If you like my video, like, share, subscribe to my channel for more updates. Signing off. Thank you.